Service in Grand Rapids has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern Newego County in west central Michigan, Muskegon County in west central Michigan, southern Oceana County in west central Michigan, until 3:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 2:25 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm was located 11 miles west of Montague, or 18 miles northwest of Muskegon, moving east at 60 miles per hour. Hazard, 60 miles per hour wind gusts. Source, radar indicated. Impact, expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Locations impacted include Muskegon, Newego, Muskegon Heights, Fremont, Roosevelt Park, North Muskegon.
We can see the shelf cloud here.
Okay,
Okay, this is our gust front.
Shores,
And oh my,
Holton,
this is one of the most well-defined shelf clouds I have ever seen.
Casnovia. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building.
Very well-defined shelf cloud. Again, these are destructive storms, life-threatening storms for Kent County. Would not be surprised to see destructive tags severe thunderstorm warning come across the pipeline here. We have a destructive tag severe thunderstorm warning coming in. So this is a life-threatening situation. 97 miles per hour. Okay? Michiana Shores, Grand Beach, New Buffalo. You guys need to get in the basement. Destructive tag severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Kent County. This is a life-threatening situation for the Metro Grand Rapids area.
Hello everyone, West Michigan Weather here. We are going live for Storm Chase on this February 27th.
Measured a wind gust of 145 miles per hour, 145 miles per hour wind.
See the lights on the tower. Certainly whiteout conditions here.
More power flashes.
Power flashes.
Big power flash. good evening, West Michigan. Sorry about the little bit of a longer pre-stream there. Let me turn my lights on here. How's everyone doing? Let me get chat pulled up here. I'll be doing my best to look at chat tonight. I opted to do this live for you guys so that you can ask questions. Let me make sure that the audio is working here quickly. West Michigan. Sounds like it is, so we are good. How's everyone doing? We will get started in just a minute here. I just want to give people a couple more minutes to get in. And I need to just make sure that that I have chat pulled up.
How's everyone doing?
Sorry guys for the echo. Hold on. There we go. All right. All right, so we will go ahead and get started here. Welcome to tonight's live stream, everybody. My name is Jonah. For those of you who do not know me, I am the co-founder of West Michigan Weather. This information here in this live stream is all updated as of a few moments ago at 7:49 p.m. local time. And we are doing a live stream tonight to discuss both the wintry mix that is possible tonight, and which could prompt some school closings as we head into Wednesday morning. And then more importantly, and I think this is the primary reason that everyone is here this evening, we do need to have a very serious conversation about the severe weather potential for Wednesday evening and overnight. So with that, let's get started. We are going to cover the wintry weather first. So we're going to be covering the overnight winter weather, the snow and ice potential, and the fact that there's a winter weather advisory in effect. And then we're going to go through our school closing outlook for tomorrow as well. And then the vast majority of this stream, because I know this is what people are most concerned about, will be dedicated to talking about the severe weather concerns that we have for Wednesday evening. And again, Wednesday evening, we're really going to hone in on, it's a low confidence right now, but it's a very high ceiling event possible with significant damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes possible. And we'll talk about what low confidence, high ceiling means when we get to that conversation. So I would ask everyone in the chat, please wait until we get to that portion of the live stream to be asking questions about severe weather. I know that's kind of what is on everybody's mind, especially given the very, very recent significant severe weather event that we had on Sunday. But I would ask that you just wait to ask all of those questions until we get to that portion of the video. So please respect that. And Owen says I'm really quiet, so let me move the mic closer here. Testing. Let me pull it up on my phone here again. Sorry about the little bit of a longer pre-stream there. Again, Wednesday evening, we're really going to hone in on. Sound okay on my end. I don't have my phone up that loud. You guys hear me okay? Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me okay. Be appreciated. So I can get some clarity here. Then I promise we'll get started here. But I want to make sure you guys can hear me so that I'm not just talking for no point. If you're on Facebook watching, let me know. If you're on YouTube watching and you can get in the live chat, let me know. We're looking for feedback on audio levels. Owen says it is better now. All right. It looks like we're doing good and getting some good levels now. Okay. So again, I would ask that you wait until we get to the severe weather portion of the live stream, which will be the second part of it, before asking any questions about severe weather. We need to talk about the winter weather first. All right, and we will go from there. Let me just mute my phone here. All right. So moving forward, again, we're going to talk about winter weather tonight with the possibility of school closings. This is our current winter weather advisory. So this winter weather advisory is in effect until noon on Wednesday for areas really along and north of M46. So everywhere in this purple shading here is under that winter weather advisory again until noon on Wednesday, tomorrow. Total snow accumulations of up to 2 inches and ice accumulations of up to 1/10, that's 0.10 of an inch possible. And the other little threat with this winter weather advisory is winds up to 40 miles per hour, wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour. There is some disagreement between models in terms of placement of the snow and the wintry mix overnight. This morning, and some of the models, even this evening, are showing that the bulk of the snow and freezing rain potential will be in the higher elevations of these counties here, Newaygo, Mecosta, and then up along the US 10 corridor here. Some of the models this afternoon were painting some snow potential down here along I-96 as well, but the Weather Service has not put out any updates on that in terms of the winter weather advisory. So we're going to stick with the idea that the best potential for snowfall, impactful snowfall, will be up here in these purple shaded counties. And again, that is in effect until noon on Wednesday. This is our day one school closing outlook. And I apologize that is a little blurry. I'm not sure why it is blurry. But I think that it'll suffice here. So we have a level 2 out of 6 risk for snow, a level 1 out of 6 risk for ice, and a level 1 out of 6 risk for wind to cause some school closings across, again, really areas along and north of M46. M46 is about right in here. So everywhere north of there has the best chance in this light blue color shading here, the 15 to 30% range. We do have the cyan color surrounding that, and that extends more down towards the Grand Rapids area and down into far northern Allegan County at the 31 and I-196 interchange there. And that is really just a buffer zone. Again, we had some model disparity there that we're painting some snow showers down here. And even still, we could see a dusting to around 1 inch here along I-96 by tomorrow morning. But the primary threat is going to be, again, up here in the higher elevations of Newaygo and Mecosta and up towards US 10 there. So overall, a low threat for school closings and delays, but non-zero nonetheless. If you're interested in reading my full discussion, I will not, sit here and read verbatim my full discussion, but it is available at westmichiganweather.net/school closings. If you go to westmichiganweather.net, there's a big tab up at the top of the menu that says school closings. Just click on that, and it'll bring you to this outlook, and you can read my full discussion on it. So this is just one model of the snowfall potential for this evening. This is at 4 a.m. tomorrow evening. Or this is for ice. I'm sorry. Ignore this. This is ice. And so this is showing just some icing potential. And then again, that's by noon Wednesday that we were seeing those pink values start to show up. And that's very, very minor ice accumulation. It is not anything significant, not anything like what they saw up here along the Mackinac Bridge and further north this past weekend. Not anything like that. This would be very minor ice accumulation, just enough to make the sidewalks and roads just a little bit slippery. And then this is snowfall. So this is midnight tonight. We can see we're starting to see some snow here. And then by 2 a.m. it's starting to infiltrate into Michigan there along US 10 in Newaygo and Mecosta counties. I personally think that this particular model is overdoing the totals a little bit. I would think that we would not see any more than 2 inches of snow in this area here, sort of the Newaygo, Montcalm, and Mecosta sort of triple point there. But I suppose you could see an isolated report of around 3 or maybe 4 inches up there. And then just pretty widespread. I didn't slow this down at all just because it's pretty consistent across the board and across the entire run of the model here, but some widespread winds of 30 to 40, perhaps 45 miles per hour overnight tonight. And then tomorrow morning, as we approach the noon hour, we might see those winds start to approach advisory criteria, maybe even high wind warning criteria there for a couple hours. Especially south of I-96. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. And again, these winds are aside from thunderstorms. They have nothing to do with our severe thunderstorm threat tomorrow evening, which we're going to talk about right now. And we need to have a very real conversation about this. I'm going to, go through a couple of reminders for you guys. This is not an April Fool's Day joke. Okay, this is a very serious conversation that we need to have here. There is a lot of uncertainty with this risk for severe weather tomorrow, but the potential for this event is quite literally off the charts in some regards. And so this is something we're very concerned about. We need to stay tuned to additional forecasts through the day tomorrow. So we're going to be providing an update tomorrow morning. We'll be doing a more formal update by noon at the latest, I would think. And everyone needs to be very weather aware tomorrow. We need to be paying very, very close attention to the severe weather threat for tomorrow. And again, I cannot stress enough that there's a lot of uncertainty tomorrow, but this is very concerning. So significant severe storms are a very, very real possibility. Our confidence is low at best right now. There's been a lot of changes with the models. There's, I would argue we're closer to very low, but I did keep it at low for now because some of the models have been increasing our confidence just a little bit that we could see some clearing tomorrow, and we'll talk about what that might mean here in just a minute. But our impact potential for tomorrow is very, very high. The potential we have for significant damaging winds and significant tornadoes tomorrow, especially along the I-94 corridor in southern Michigan, has Owen and I very, very concerned. We talked for several hours this afternoon about what we were seeing, and I've been reaching out to some of the other people in the weather community that I have a lot of respect for, and we're all kind of thinking the same thing. So again, our impact potential for tomorrow is very high, but our confidence is low at this time. So we're going to need to continue to watch for updates. And again, at this point, if you guys have questions, any sort of questions about tomorrow, feel free to start leaving those in the chat as I go through this section of the live stream. So this is our day 2 severe weather outlook for our area tomorrow. You can see we have a very large level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk. Hey Nathan, how are you? We have a very large level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk across areas south of I-96 here, south of I-96 and I-196 there. It includes Kalamazoo, Benton Harbor, Jackson, Coldwater, Lansing, Allegan, Sturgis, many of the areas that were impacted quite significantly by the storms on Sunday evening are once again under the gun, a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk in this orange shading here for severe weather tomorrow. Then we have a broad slight risk that extends north of I-96 to include Grand Rapids, Muskegon, Mount Pleasant, up towards the Ludington area there. Includes Metro Detroit, Flint, Saginaw, and up there into the Thumb region. Austin, how you doing? Good to see you here. And then a marginal risk extends up towards Traverse City and the Gaylord area there. Once again, a large area of southern Michigan is very much under the gun for severe weather tomorrow. We'll take a look at probabilities here in just a minute, but as just a reminder, an enhanced risk of level 3 out of 5 is numerous severe thunderstorms possible. More numerous severe storms than as compared to these two levels, the dark green and the yellow here. So more numerous than that, with threats for damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. And a few storms could be significant, and that is certainly our big concern with this risk. A lot of the parameters are sort of off the charts here, and we'll take a look at that in just a second. These types of storms occur a couple of times per year in Michigan, and we've had an above average start to the season with this. We've already had two, and now we have a third enhanced risk in place, and it's only April 1st. And obviously the risk we had the other day very much overperformed this level 3 out of 5 risk. It actually, believe it or not, it verified as a level 5 out of 5 high risk. But that was not sort of the expectation. And of course, we don't have a time capsule, so the SPC couldn't go back in time. But as it stands, we have this orange level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk in place. Again, for a large portion of southern lower Michigan here with a broad slight risk extending north from that. And this is driven by a couple of things. This is our tornado outlook for tomorrow. So we have a large 5 to 9% region in place across the vast majority, I would say 80% of our entire severe weather risk area tomorrow. It includes Mount Pleasant, Muskegon, Grand Rapids, Holland, Kalamazoo, Benton Harbor, Jackson, Sturgis, Lansing, Detroit, Flint, Sterling Heights, up into the Thumb region here. It includes Saginaw. So certainly a very large area of 5 to 9% chance for a tornado within 25 miles of any point within this brown shaded region here. And then as we go south, we head down here towards Fort Wayne, Indiana, you can see that there is a 10 to 14% hatched area here in this yellow region overlaid with the black hatch marks. That means that there's a 10 to 14% chance of a tornado within 25 miles of a point here, as well as a 10% or greater risk for any tornado that does occur to be EF2+. And then we do have this green area that extends to encompass the entire rest of our area and all the way up towards Traverse City, up towards the bridge, Gaylord. All of those areas are under a 2 to 4% risk for a tornado. I expect to see some changes with this outlook come tomorrow. And I think that one of two things is going to happen. Either models overnight are going to come into better agreement that we are going to destabilize or have a more favorable environment for severe storms, and we will see this yellow region extend up into Michigan along and south of the I-94 corridor probably, and it will likely have this hatching over it, and it may even get up to this 15 to 29% region And again, I'm not trying to speculate here. I'm not trying to scare people or anything like that. But if the models come into better agreement that we are indeed going to destabilize, I would not be entirely surprised to see well increased tornado probabilities along and south of the I-94 corridor for tomorrow. Aside from the tornado risk, we also have a very, very substantial damaging wind threat, significant damaging wind threat in place for tomorrow as well. As you can see here, we have a very large, broad region of 30 to 44% probabilities everywhere in red shading here. 30 to 44% risk for a damaging wind gust within 25 miles of any point. So pick any point in here. Let's say Kalamazoo. Within 25 miles of any point, within 25 miles of Kalamazoo, there's a 30 to 44% chance that you see a wind gust 60 miles per hour or greater in Kalamazoo there within 25 miles. Same principle applies to this yellow shaded region, except it's 15 to 29%. But you see these black hatch marks overlaying the vast majority of this area. Kalamazoo, Benton Harbor, Sturgis, Jackson, Lansing, up towards Grand Rapids. It includes Holland. All right. This is what we call a significant wind parameter. And again, that means that there's a 30 to 44% chance in red, a 15 to 29% chance in yellow of seeing at least one wind gust over 60 miles per hour. But there's also a risk for any of those wind gusts to be at least hurricane force, which is 75 miles per hour or greater within this black stippled region here tomorrow evening. So a very large, significant damaging wind risk. And again, with Sunday's severe weather very fresh in everybody's minds, we know that this is not anything to bat an eye at because we had those very intense winds up to 96 miles per hour. Jackson, 81 at the Gerald R. Ford Airport here, widespread 60s and 70s without this black stippled region. And so the fact that this black stippled region is so broad, it encompasses nearly all of our coverage area tomorrow night, it has us very concerned. And again, I think that one of two things will happen. This will either downtrend because we are not going to destabilize and will drop to 15 to 29, maybe even 5 to 14%. Or the other end of the spectrum is that we will be upgraded to a 45 to 59% chance with the black hatch marks somewhere along and south of I-94 would be the most likely location for that to occur. So again, low confidence, high impact potential here, very high impact potential here. And depending on what models do overnight, that will greatly influence what sort of risks we're looking at for tomorrow. And I would not be entirely surprised, given some of the data that I saw tonight, to see our probabilities increase for tomorrow. And that has me concerned quite a bit. And again, I'm not trying to scare anyone. I don't want to fearmonger or whatever. This is a very real conversation that we have to have for tomorrow. And I need to stress that it's low confidence. I personally don't have a lot of confidence, and neither does the National Weather Service, but the potential is there. I cannot stress enough how much the potential is there for significant severe weather across much of our area tomorrow. And then we do have a large hail risk as well. This is sort of our least concerning factor, but it is a concern nonetheless. So we can see that most of our area is in that 15 to 29% risk for a large hailstone over 1 inch in diameter. Grand Rapids, Muskegon, Mount Pleasant, Lansing, Jackson, Kalamazoo, Holland, Benton Harbor, Sturgis, Coldwater, everywhere really south of US 10 is in this 15 to 29% chance. And again, that's just because that it's April. It's early April in Michigan. We don't have, those summer warm temperatures in place well above the surface. It's very cold up above the surface. The freezing layer is relatively close to the ground, so any updraft that can push rain up into the freezing layer, it freezes, and when it gets too heavy, it falls back to the ground as hail. And so that is not a non-zero concern for tomorrow. Brian McCoy, good to know exposure, but is the trending timing of the severe weather tomorrow evening? But what was the trending timing of the severe weather tomorrow evening? If I understand your question correctly, timing for tomorrow is any time after 4 p.m. Honestly, I'm thinking closer to any time after 6 p.m. But 6 p.m. to midnight really is sort of the time frame we're kind of focusing in on at this point. Obviously, we're going to be providing updates all throughout the day tomorrow, but for right now, anytime after 6 p.m., and let's be safe and say anytime after 4 p.m. is where we're concerned for severe weather potential. So 4 p.m. to midnight. And then back to our large hail risk here, we do have some significant hail risk that was introduced with the afternoon update from the Storm Prediction Center. Includes parts of Berrien County there and parts of Cass County. So there's a 15 to 29% chance of a large hailstone over 1 inch in diameter anywhere really in Berrien County or southwestern Cass County. So Benton Harbor, Berrien Springs, anywhere there, you guys have a 15 to 29% chance for a 1 inch hailstone. But you also have a 10% chance for that hailstone to be over 2 inches in diameter everywhere in that black stippled region. And then, again, that stretches well off to the southwest. Brian McCoy says, got it. Thanks and sorry for the... Oh, it's all good, Brian. I was able to decipher it, and I'm glad I was able to answer your question. Again, please make sure that you're staying tuned tomorrow. That is, of course, subject to change, but that's kind of what we're looking at right now. All right, so again, I need to stress that this is low confidence, and so we're just going to go over some of the things that we know and some of the things that we don't know for tomorrow. So we know that there's going to be gusty showers and storms in the morning and early afternoon. There may be some snow showers and freezing rain mixing in the further north you go. We have extreme shear. Shear is the changing of wind speeds and or direction with height. Okay, so we start at the ground, and we've got winds at the surface, and then as those change, as you go higher and higher in the atmosphere, imagine you're in a plane going up into the sky. As you get higher, the way those winds change with both speed and the direction those winds are coming from, as those change with height, we call that shear. And we have extreme shear tomorrow. We have what we call bulk shear, or average shear, we'll call it, mean shear, across the area tomorrow, well in excess of 60 to 70 knots. And for to kind of put that into miles per hour, that's approaching 85 miles per hour at the high end there. So very strong bulk shear tomorrow. That's why we have that very large, significant wind risk in place across the area tomorrow. So if any of those winds can mix down to the surface, even just a little bit, we could see some very, very damaging wind gusts down at the surface. We have the extreme shear, which again I just talked about, is good for those intense damaging wind gusts. It's also conducive for strong tornadoes. Storm relative helicity values in the 0 or from the surface to 1 kilometer up in the atmosphere. Storm relative helicity is essentially how well the storm is spinning or how fast the storm is spinning. It's really off the charts. I mean, storm relative helicity pushing 400 to 600 meters squared per second squared, which, to dumb it down and put it simply, we need about 100 meters squared per second squared storm relative helicity to start being really concerned about tornadoes. and we have values pushing 400 to 600 meters squared per second squared tomorrow. So the shear and the kinematics, the wind profiles, are really just off the charts tomorrow. And we have plenty of lift as well. Those winds are providing sufficient lift to get those updrafts going, and to make those winds interact and form storms. And so if some of the unknowns resolve, which we'll talk about the unknowns here in just a second, resolve and kind of clear up, this could be a very high-level event. I know I keep saying this, but I cannot stress enough how high the ceiling is for tomorrow's severe weather potential. The National Weather Service forecast offices around the area are using words such as frightening, significant, concerning, very concerning in their forecast discussions that they're sending out. And so we don't see that very often, especially here in Michigan. The ceiling is very, very high here tomorrow. And then heavy rain and flooding are a very real possibility tomorrow as well. We'll talk about that towards the end here. Jeff Marks, possibilities for power outages in Michigan? Absolutely. If we see severe thunderstorms tomorrow, and honestly, even if we don't see severe thunderstorms tomorrow, with just the wind field that's going to be moving through the area, we could see winds pushing 40 to 60 miles per hour during the day tomorrow as the system moves through. And then again, any severe thunderstorms that actually do develop tomorrow we could see winds pushing 60, 70, 80, 90 miles per hour, just with the bulk shear values that we have in place. So power outages are a very, very real possibility tomorrow. Austin Cook, with this type of setup, it won't take too much instability for things to get bad. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute, Austin. That's a really good point. We'll talk about that in a minute. So what we don't know is when and if morning showers and storms will clear out. So if they clear out early or if they clear out later in the afternoon into the evening, that will really determine how well we're able to destabilize enough to support severe storms. And by destabilize, I mean how well we're able to bring convective available potential energy, or CAPE, into the area. And what CAPE is, in layman's terms, is just storm fuel. It's like putting gas in a car. How full is your gas tank? And as Austin just said there, this next bullet point, if we don't destabilize, will the extreme shear values overcome that anyway? So many times, this is what we call a low CAPE, high shear type event. So there is the potential that even if we don't destabilize, even if we don't see the sun come out and destabilize the environment tomorrow, that the extreme off-the-chart shear values that are in place will overcome that instability, the lacking instability. So even if we don't destabilize and we don't see much CAPE in the area, it honestly might not matter all that much. But that is just a question that we have right now. So. And then how far north will the severe threat persist? Again, as of right now, the best chances are along and south of I-96 and especially along and south of I-94. But really, just like we saw the other day, right? Newaygo County, for example. Newaygo County wasn't even under the severe thunderstorm watch, and they got a level 3 out of 3 destructive tag severe thunderstorm warning. They had an EF0 tornado touchdown, and they've got really some pretty crazy damage to some electrical transmission towers that were blown over, and those are rated for very strong winds. So, it really just depends on how far that warm front can push up into the area. And again, I said it in my video Sunday morning, my forecast update video Sunday morning. My biggest concern is going to be along M46, where that warm front did eventually set up, and that's exactly what happened in Newaygo County. A storm latched onto the warm front, and it just rode that warm front, and we saw a tornado develop. And those warm fronts are sneaky. So wherever this warm front that's coming in with this system eventually sets up, or if it is just ahead of the line of thunderstorms that comes through, and anything can kind of grab onto that warm front and work with that energy. We could easily see an all-hazard severe weather threat with the risk for tornadoes and damaging winds. Austin Cook with this type of... oh, that's the same message that showed up again on my end. That was weird. All right. So those are sort of what we know and what we don't know. Again, any questions you guys have, please send them in the chat. I will do my best to answer. I have it pulled up on Twitter as well, but I'm not seeing any messages in the chat on Twitter. So please feel free to throw questions in the chat if you have anything. This is our excessive rainfall risk for tomorrow. Again, an excessive rainfall outlook is just the overall risk for rainfall rates or total amounts of rainfall to exceed flash flood warning criteria within 25 miles of any point. And so we have a level 1 out of 4 marginal risk everywhere in this light green shaded area. This includes Holland, Allegan, Grand Rapids, Greenville, Muskegon, Ludington, Newaygo, Mount Pleasant. This is a 5 to 14% chance for those rainfall amounts or the rate at which rainfall falls to exceed flash flood warning criteria. And then similar concept down here on this yellow shaded area to include the vast majority of our area here, including the US 12 corridor here, Kalamazoo, Jackson, Sturgis, Lansing, up here into the Saginaw area all the way up into the Thumb, includes Detroit, and stretches down into Ohio and much of Indiana there as well. So this is a level 2 out of 4 slight risk, which is a 15 to 39% chance for rainfall rates or amounts to exceed flash flood warning criteria. All right. And then again, our next update is going to be tomorrow by noon at the latest. We will have an update out to everyone by noon at the latest via all of our platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, whatever platform you follow us on. We will have an update out by noon tomorrow with our latest thinking on severe weather chances. So again, I will let you guys ask whatever questions you have in the chat surrounding our severe weather threat or surrounding our snow day prediction. Whatever questions you guys have, I am more than happy to answer those. So for now, I'll just go back and we'll just hang out on this screen here. I'm happy to jump around the PowerPoint presentation to answer any questions you guys might have, anything about timing, anything like that. What questions do we have? Actually, I'm going to go back to this graphic here. And then while we're waiting for any questions that anyone might have, we are in the process of compiling damage reports from Sunday. So if you have any damage reports from Sunday, please send those to us. You can go to westmichiganweather.net/report and send those reports to us that way. We really appreciate getting those reports. We forward a lot of them to the National Weather Service. We've got a really cool map on our website there at westmichiganweather.net/report that sort of outlines or lets you interact with each individual report, see photos, all sorts of things. Again, we're just waiting to see if anyone has questions here for a few moments. Brian McCoy wants to know about temps. When do we see the transition? Will it come with the concerning weather in the evening? Well, that's one of our unknowns. Really, is when that warm front is going to work its way into the region. If it works its way in, soon enough. Currently, it's looking at about 7 p.m. and that's kind of like right on the line of like, is that soon enough or is it too late? If it comes in earlier or later, that'll make a big difference for our severe weather potential. But to answer your question, the big concern with the warm front coming in with or ahead of that severe weather is the chance that those storms can latch onto that warm front and use that energy to intensify. Temps in the morning tomorrow are going to be very winter-esque, very early spring-esque. 30s, 40s, maybe some 20s. But along the I-94 corridor, around 7, 8, 9 o'clock, we're going to start to see those temps push 50, 60, maybe around 70 degrees. And that may be more than sufficient for that area to destabilize. So, and again, that just depends on how soon that warm front works its way into the area, how much we destabilize, and how much CAPE or storm fuel is built up down there. So, hope that answers your question. We really appreciate everybody tuning in. It looks like we've got 100 people or so watching across the different platforms. So, don't be afraid to ask questions. I'm sure if you have the question, another person has that same question. So, again, this is our severe weather risk for tomorrow. Yeah, of course, Brian. Level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk there, along and south of I-96. Very broad slight risk extending north from that. And this is really driven by a 5 to 9% tornado risk across the vast majority of our area there, everywhere in the brown shading. 5 to 9% chance for a tornado within 25 miles of a point. Wouldn't be surprised if some of the trends continue that we saw this afternoon. If those trends continue, to see higher probabilities pushed up into lower Michigan. This is our wind outlook for tomorrow. Again, very large, broad, 30 to 44% chance stippled region there, black hatch marks. And then this is our large hail threat. Austin Cook says, I think with any storms in the morning, there could be a very small severe storm, very low chance, but there. Yeah, that's actually a good point there, Austin. There is a marginal risk, and unfortunately, I don't have the graphic. I should have. I honestly totally forgot about the marginal risk. We do have a marginal risk that is in place for isolated severe thunderstorms possible. So we have a low risk for isolated damaging wind gusts and large hail. These types of storms, occur dozens of times a year, but they still need to be taken seriously. That marginal risk is in place across far southwestern Berrien County for tomorrow morning. And again, that's just because that shear is so high that any thunderstorm that develops there in the morning into the very early afternoon, there is that risk there. For an isolated weak severe storm. So thanks for bringing that up, Austin. I really appreciate that. And again, please ask whatever questions you might have. You guys might be able to hear the wind behind me. It is starting to get windy tonight. Again, gusts up to 40 miles per hour possible tonight. All right. Last call for any questions that might be out there. And again, if you're watching this after the live stream has ended and you have a question, please feel free to send us a direct message or leave a comment. We'll do our best to get back with you. Again, last call for any questions. There are no stupid questions at all. So whatever questions you might have. Austin says 0Z model suites come out soon. That's very true. Matt on Twitter, hey Jonah, sorry just jumped on. What's the ballpark time frame for the arrival of severe weather? Again, to be safe, we're saying earliest 4 p.m., probably closer to 6 or 7 p.m., and then through really midnight. So midnight in our coverage area. That's what we're looking at for severe storm timing right now. Again, that is subject to change just like everything else, but as of right now, that's what we're looking at. And last call for any final questions. Otherwise, we will go ahead and wrap up. And here's one last look at our overall risk for tomorrow. This is what we call our categorical outlook. Level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk, including Kalamazoo, Sturgis, Jackson, Lansing, Allegan, Benton Harbor. Then there's a large level 2 out of 5 slight risk, including the Grand Rapids Metro. Includes Muskegon, Greenville, Mount Pleasant, Newaygo, up towards Ludington, and all along the US 10 corridor there. Awesome, thanks. How does the outlook compare to the weather from Sunday? That's a good question. As of right now, the overall categorical risk is the same level. It was a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk on Sunday. It's also a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk right now for tomorrow. The biggest difference is that our tornado threat did not extend this far north. It only came up to about the Kalamazoo area, and this 5 to 9% extends well up towards Mount Pleasant. And I wouldn't be surprised to see higher probabilities pushed into southern lower Michigan if things continue. We got a comment on YouTube. When will the temperatures rise enough to melt ice on Mackinac Bridge? I'm honestly not sure. I did not look at like long range temperature forecasts. Not tomorrow, that's for sure. Not tomorrow. This is our damaging wind risk for tomorrow. So again, kind of going back to Matt's question there. In terms of how this compared to Sunday's risk, it was very similar. We had a 30% region, and we actually even had a 45 to 59%, a pink area in here as well. The difference was we did not have this black hatching that was overlaid on that risk. We did not have that, and we do here. So again, that black hatching indicates a 10% or greater risk for any wind gusts to be at least 75 miles an hour. Hail is pretty much the same, albeit a little few changes. We also didn't have that significant hail risk in place as we do there in Benton or Berrien County and Cass County there. So that's kind of how that adds up or compares to the risk from Sunday. But again, like I don't like to compare these risks to other risks. I don't like to compare events' risk levels. the bottom line is, just like we saw Sunday, an event can either underperform or overperform. It doesn't really matter what the categorical risk level is. That just gives us an idea of, what sort of the max ceiling is. And our max ceiling for this is really off the charts. So I wouldn't be entirely surprised to see a level 4 out of 5 moderate risk. A level 4 out of 5 moderate risk introduced at some point tomorrow for part of southern lower Michigan. So, but again, we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening. And Austin says, make sure you know your severe weather plans, or make sure you have your severe weather plans ready just in case. Absolutely. We'll talk about that in whatever sort of update we have in the morning. If we do indeed either maintain this level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk, or we upgrade to a moderate risk, we will definitely be messaging. Overnight severe weather is very dangerous, so we'll be messaging safety tips and how to prepare, how to get ready for all of that at some point tomorrow if this risk is maintained. So, and that's a good point. Before we wrap up here, please, 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 please have multiple sources of reliable weather information. Okay, follow us on social media. We're on Twitter or X at WestMIWX. Our Facebook and Instagram are West Michigan Weather. Our Discord server is kind of like a public chat forum. You can come in and ask questions, whatever it is. Discord.gg/WMIWX. You can follow us on West Michigan Weather on YouTube. Those are going to be your best outlets of information from us. Again, all those links are also available on our website at westmichiganweather.net. I'm sure we'll have a forecast discussion up there at some point tomorrow. Okay, please follow us. Okay, follow our friends over at Southern Michigan Weather. Follow our friends at Michigan Storm Chasers. Follow your local National Weather Service forecast office. Okay, National Weather Service Grand Rapids, or National Weather Service Northern Indiana if you're down along the state line in Berrien, Cass, St. Joseph, Branch, or Hillsdale counties. You guys are serviced by the National Weather Service in Northern Indiana. Follow them on Twitter or Facebook. Okay, search National Weather Service Grand Rapids or National Weather Service Northern Indiana. They'll pop up. Give them a follow. Please make sure you have multiple ways to receive reliable weather information tomorrow. You need to have that. Follow your local TV news station, WZZM 13, Fox 17, Wood TVA, Channel 3, whatever it is. Please follow them. Have multiple sources of weather information as we go into the overnight hours tonight. And again, depending on what happens overnight, what we wake up to in the morning, we will be messaging all day tomorrow about changes to our severe weather forecast. We'll be keeping you guys informed on timing, on hazards, how to get ready, whether or not we need to start thinking about having people in mobile homes relocate to safer structures. All those sorts of things we'll be talking about. So, all right, and again, I'm not seeing any additional questions, so we'll probably go ahead and wrap up the stream. If you're watching this after the stream concluded, please give us a message, shoot us a message, I should say. We'll do our best to get back to you